What do you think about LeBron James has a chance last night to take on the next big thing in basketball, Victor Wembanyama, and he ducks it, says he has arthritis in his foot. Uh, to, I don't shouldn't be. I'm not surprised, but I am just like disappointed. It's like if I'm going out end of my career and I got a chance and I know, hey, there's no chance. Maybe we can't beat the Spurs. They're hot. Luka's not playing. Austin Reeves. But what do you think of LeBron ducking Victor last night?
Jason, this is stereotypical LeBron. He's been doing it for the last 5 years, where he continued, by the way, to keep making all NBA teams. This is the first year he's not going to make it, but he kept making the teams despite missing 20, 25 games year in and year out, and puffing up his stats by resting back-to-backs, by resting against teams that are better defensively. Like, of course his numbers continue to look good. He's inflating them by making sure he's always fresh and ready to go and ducking the better defensive teams. And unfortunately, this is what a lot of the league is doing. But I would say this, Jason, just in one quick pushback. Nikola Jokic and Victor Wembanyama, who are two players that are likely going to get hurt this year by this 65 minimum rule. Because Wemby has missed 14 games. You can miss 17 games total. Wemby has already missed 14. Jokic has missed 16. So they can only miss 1 and 3 more games. They're not the ones that have been targeted or that should have been targeted by this 65 minimum. These guys do want to play. They do everything in their power to play and compete. Jokic came into this year, in the first 10 years of his career, he missed like 55 total games. In 10 years, he's played more games since he entered the NBA than any player in the NBA over that span of time. The guy wants to be out there. He had a legitimate injury this season, which was a 4 to 6 week injury, and he was supposed to be reevaluated at that point, probably miss another week. Instead, he came back at 4 weeks exactly to get back to play the Thunder. This guy wasn't right. He was physically depreciated. He came back to play the Thunder and get criticized because they lost and he didn't look good because he rushed back from injury. Then he's continued to play every game since he came back. They played a back-to-back, Jason, in New York, the second game of a back-to-back on national television. He clearly should have sat out. He's not right. He's exceeding his minutes. He has a 25-minute to 29-minute minutes restriction. The night before off the back-to-back against New York, he played 33 minutes. Instead of sitting out the next game in Madison Square Garden on national television, he played 45 minutes in that back-to-back in double overtime, and he continues to play. Wembanyama, same deal. This guy came back probably 3 to 4 weeks too early from an injury earlier in the season and came off the bench for like 9 straight games while he was trying to ramp it up just so he could play 20, 25 minutes and help his team win. Those two guys deserve to be all NBA, even if they miss an 18th game or a 19th game. You can't tell me that they don't deserve it, that they're not top 15 players. This rule, the nature of the rule, was to stop guys from load managing their way to all NBA teams like the LeBron James of the NBA.
That's an interesting perspective. Tell me this. How Simmons is suggesting, hey, shrinking this season to 70 games or whatever. How do you fix this? Well, if you were commissioner, if Jay Kaepernick were commissioner, what do you do?
Well, look, you and I had a little three-day symposium or something in your studios a few months back on how we can fix the NBA. I think it honestly does begin with incentivizing play. Look, I hate to say that you need like legitimate excuses, but essentially when I was in school, you could miss 20 days of school. And then at that point, you needed a legitimate doctor's excuse in order to miss any more than 20.
Hold for 1 second. You could miss 20 days of school?
20 days, as long as your parent knew that you were missing. Are you going to just
20 days?
20 days, Jason. 20 days.
I mean, how many days of school are there in a typical school year?
About 180.
About 180?
About 180, yeah.
Man, that seems like a high percent. Holy cow, 20. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So my point is this though. I was a guy that would take my 20 days usually, but I would also have straight A's.
Whoa. You would figure it. This wasn't even a thing when I was a kid. You could. they would tell you how many days you could miss, and then you could figure out how to miss those 20 days, and everybody was good with that. I didn't even like school, but I liked going. I mean, I just wouldn't. Wow. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue. I didn't.
So my point is this: like, I had straight A's, I would take my 20 days. But if you missed more than 20, even if you had all A's, you had to go to summer school for your lowest grade that you got if you missed over 20 days, unless you had a legitimate doctor's excuse. So I feel like we're going to a point in time where we need to incentivize play. So in other words, the amount of money these guys make and are contractually stipulated that they will earn that year needs to be tied into and incentivized by the amount of games they play. And they don't get that money if they're going to miss a quarter of the year or a third of the year. The only way they would is if they have a legitimate doctors, a legitimate medical excuse as to why. Like, if you tear your ACL or if you rupture your Achilles, obviously you're not making no money that year.
Scap, what happens? You force the guys to play, and they just go out there and mail it in, or they 20 minutes total, or they play 15 minutes and then they check themselves out and dare the coach to put them back in, claiming some injury or what. I think that's what the NBA would be afraid of.
I mean, Jason, there really are no good. There really are no good kind of solutions at this point, because you're pointing to a more, again, like a cultural or a societal issue overall of this era of soft, pampered athletes, which, again, I think just mirrors this generation of soft, pampered people in general that are walking the earth. You need like you do need Victor Wembanyama. Is an interesting look. Nikola Jokic is 30. He'll be 31 in like 10 days. So he's kind of, I don't want to say he's at the end, but he's maybe 4 or 5 years left in peak where you can say he's probably the best player left alive on earth. Victor Wembanyama is only like 23 years old. This guy can just shame the rest of the NBA. And maybe Anthony Edwards too. You need like 1 or 2 guys, elite guys. And maybe it can be Ant-Man and Victor Wembanyama, because those 2 teams don't like each other, the Spurs and the Timberwolves. Maybe we have this rivalry between these 2 guys that are these 2 elite players that do try to play in every game that they can, that try to compete as hard as they can in every game. And the rest of the league, because the NBA, sports in general is a follow the leader type thing. Like, I really believe LeBron James and that era from like 2010, 2011 took us to where we're at now, because the rest of the other great players, young players that were coming in, looked at what they were doing and emulated it and copied it and followed it. We needed to go in the other direction. We need real men, again, to come in here that want to compete and play both sides of the ball and beat their guys, not, beat the other best players, not join them. Build these rivalries. And then maybe the rest of the league and the rest of the good players around them will get up on that level and follow the lead. That's my only hope.